Thanks for joining us today. I hope everyone has been having a blast at the summit. I know I've been learning a lot myself. I'm very excited to take you all along on our journey of data transformation at Crisis TextLine and how our radical shift with Databricks has unlocked so much for us in the mental health space. My name is Christy Louie, and I am a product manager at Crisis TextLine. I focus on data, infrastructure, and security, as well as AI applications. I've been with the organization now for about 2 years, and I'll hand it over to Ankit.
Thank you, Christy. Good afternoon and a warm welcome to Databricks Summit 2024 and our talk. I'm Ankit from Data Engineering team at Crisis TextLine. I've been with the org for close to 8 years. I've worked closely with Christy to ensure we deliver data to our business, operation, and technical stakeholders in an accurate and reliable way. I will hand over to Christy, our product manager, to give an overview of Crisis TextLine and our data platform.
Thanks, Ankit. All right, so before we dig in, I do want to preface our presentation with a bit of a warning. We are talking about some heavy topics today, especially in the mental health space. So there might be stories or scenarios that come up during the course of our presentation. Please remember to practice self-care. Take a sip of water, take a break. If you need to leave the session, Ankit and I won't be offended. So what is Crisis TextLine? We are a nonprofit organization that provides free 24/7 confidential text-based mental health support to individuals that need it. We do so in both English and Spanish in the United States and Puerto Rico. What planted the seed for our organization came from a series of anonymized text messages that went something like this. He won't stop raping me. It's my dad. He told me not to tell anyone. Are you there? And from there, our organization was born. We softly launched in El Paso and Chicago, and in just 4 short months, we expanded to 295 short codes. Since 2013, we've expanded to support the entire United States, as well as global organizations abroad. We're really dedicated to promoting mental well-being for people no matter where they are, and to build an empathetic world where no one feels alone. We are very much in the midst of a global mental health crisis. It's driven by a lot of factors that I'm sure everyone in this room has felt. Things such as climate change, economic and political unrest, and we simply don't have enough mental health professionals to support. So as an organization, Crisis TextLine believes that by empowering a community of trained volunteers or responders, we can support this growing tide of individuals. At the core of our service is a community of trained responders that are overseen by clinical staff members. And these staff members oversee conversations, supervise, and provide support when they need that, and also take over conversations if situations escalate at any point. Given the growing scale of the mental health crisis that we are experiencing today, it became very clear that our organization needed to scale its services as well. As the mental health crisis has grown, it's become also very clear that human-to-human connection is extremely vital in this battle. And so we think that with technology and the data that we've harnessed over the past decade, we can really drive the innovation that all of us sorely need. So according to the CDC, in the US alone, 130 Americans die every day by suicide. That's 1 death every 11 minutes. Over the course of a year, more than 12 million individuals seriously consider suicide, 3.1 make a plan, and over 1 million make an attempt. This crisis is compounded by the fact that there's a shrinking number of clinicians who are ready, qualified, and trained to support these high-risk patients. And so we believe that individuals who require this timely access to care really can't wait weeks or months to be seen by someone. And so our service is really there to address that need. As one of the largest text crisis intervention programs in the world, we think that we've developed a great set of technology platforms designed specifically for this holistic crisis care management. Since 2013, we've been operating and evolving this proven model and technology ecosystem. We've supported over 9 million conversations in the United States alone, and that's more than 12 million globally. We've also trained over 74,000 volunteers, and that totals 90,000 globally as well. And how are we doing this? We are doing this by forming an ecosystem of applications and platforms offered as a single platform as a service that can be adopted by a whole myriad of different crisis interventions across the globe. And really, the point of this dynamic ecosystem is to support unique cultural, language, and compliance needs as well, with minimal software configuration. The three key dials here are displayed on the slide. Our core volunteer ecosystem encompasses that responder community that I talked about, as well as the resources to support them, a holistic end-to-end data stack, and a conversation platform that supports the in real-time conversation that takes place between a texter and a responder. So today, I'm super excited for us to focus on how we evolved our underlying data ecosystem. So data is so important to service excellence for us here at Crisis Text Line. It's critical for us to better staff our service, maintain high quality in our conversations, and bring very real insight to the mental health crisis that is rapidly evolving. A lot of the learnings that we've extracted over the last decade have been brought to bear in new program launches, improvements across the globe, and in partnership with organizations in the United Kingdom, Ireland, and Canada. And these global partnerships, which we call affiliates, are very critical to our ability to deliver global impact at scale and begin building out what we believe will be a crisis care marketplace. So as we're continuing to scale our product offerings internationally, it's important that we continue to maintain high quality and deliver more value to our users and partners abroad. Imagine a world where we can very much support real people in real time on our global platforms, and then use that support to drive systemic clinical care change through public policy and academic research. How exciting would that be? And so, as a first step in that direction, we decided we need to move off of our legacy data stack and move more towards a dynamic and modern data platform ecosystem. Crisis Text Line today operates much like a two-sided marketplace. And so our primary objective is to match texters who are seeking help to responders that are providing timely support. By observing and extracting insights in those interactions, we feel that our technology ecosystem is very well prepared to operate our services at scale. So this could include driving more efficient workflows for all types of staff on the platform. This could mean building real-time insights across our data platform and providing right information to the real people on the ground at the right time. And so our new data platform needed to do a couple of things. The first was to ingest and process all the types of data that we had generated across legacy systems and across our business. And that included our operational conversation platform. It included our ad hoc survey responses that came to be from experiences and real-time message content. And so we focused on electing a solution that would allow us to do two things. One was to maintain a one-stop shop for analyzing over a decade of conversations and all of the context of that conversation. And two, to allow us to build intelligence for data augmentation and clinical decision-making. So let's walk through the evolution. From a data storage and data transformation perspective, we moved from a rather snapshotted source database world to one where we streamlined our ingestion and processing into Databricks, Delta Lake, and S3 compartments. From a data transformation perspective, we shifted from bash scripts that were stitched together to codified jobs in Databricks workflows. And on the orchestration front, we moved from a fragmented Jenkins framework to Databricks workflows, and that really helped us manage, codify our jobs, and then templatize them across workspaces. And then last but not least, from a data access and business intelligence perspective, Unity Catalog, available through Databricks, really helped us with fine-grained access controls at the row and column level, and that allowed our business stakeholders to be more engaged with our data sets as well. Now, right off the bat, we observed a lot of business improvements. The rate at which we could onboard new data sources was whittled down to months instead of multiple years. We built new diverse dashboards across a diverse set of data sources in days instead of weeks. And we onboarded an entirely new country in just a few weeks instead of several years. And last but not least, unlocking our new capabilities in the machine learning operation space was pivotal to the next phase of our data ecosystem. We streamlined a lot of the data science work that had taken place in the last decade, and we unlocked compute through Databricks for machine learning modeling. Now I'll hand it off to Ankit, a core data engineering lead in this entire endeavor, to talk us through how we technically accomplished this in just a year.
Thank you, Christy. In the following slides, let us unfold our journey in migrating from legacy data platform to a more modern data tech stack using Databricks. Due to resource constraints, we had a small data team, including 2 data engineers, Christy, our product manager, and our director of engineering. So right at the start of this project, we were presented with a challenge. How do we achieve an ambitious project with limited resources and bandwidth? We drew inspirations from a timeless principle called Occam's razor that states, given the universe of all possible solutions, the simplest one is often the best to implement, maintain, and build trust with the partners. With this in mind, our first step was creating an initial architecture. However, instead of aiming for an ideal platform version, we agreed to pursue a lift and shift approach. That is, migrate all the processes from the extant system to Databricks. The simplicity of this approach enabled us to build a data platform with incremental updates and make necessary pivots to adapt to evolving business needs. Simplicity is a tenet that we strive for at Crisis TechLine and will become a central theme of this technical discussion. So let's have a look at our initial architecture. For the discussion of this architecture, we will move in the direction of data flow from source to target. To ingest data from our primary operational database, which was Aurora MySQL, we used AWS Data Migration Service to ingest data in S3 bucket, which served as the staging layer for us. Next, to store the data in Databricks, we adopted the medallion architecture championed by Databricks. For the uninitiated, the medallion architecture consists of 3 layers, namely the bronze layer, which serves as the raw copy of source database, silver layer, which stores the clean and transformed data. In the silver layer, we performed decryption and anonymization process to redact sensitive information of our texters and counselors. We are a privacy-first organization, and we deeply care about protecting the privacy of our users on the platform. Lastly, we used Delta Live Table to create curated data sets in the gold layer that can be utilized by data science and research groups to drive machine learning, reporting, analytics, and research initiatives. We also provision gold layer to our external BI tool, in our case, Sisense Fusion. Additionally, it was critical for us to track system health at every stage of our data platform, and we used Datadog for tracking performance metrics. In our initial design, we made an active choice to ingest full snapshot of operational database every 4 hours. And this enabled us to build data platform in fastest possible way and be operationally ready for data science and research groups. In the next release, we focused on performance and switched the ingest logic of bronze and silver layer to incremental updates using MD5 checksum approach. Now, the checksum logic looks at the incoming snapshot in S3 bucket and compares it with the current snapshot of bronze layer and appends only the delta change happening in the system. And we thank Databricks technical team, especially Drew, Earl, and Charles, for suggesting the solution. In the forthcoming release, we will change the DMS architecture to change data capture. The CDC approach reads the transaction logs of database and ingest only the delta change to database, such as inserts, updates, and deletes. We believe that it will help us achieve 2 critical outcomes. We will significantly reduce the cost to ingest data using DMS. We will position ourselves to deliver data at low latency. And this is just one example of how simple incremental updates can help us deliver business value while we build the data platform at scale. And with the architecture in place, we are ready to build the data pipeline in Databricks. Now, to build a data pipeline in Databricks for ingestion and transformation, we identified some guiding principles for us. So we use PySpark application that combines the ease of building in Python and at the same time leveraging the distributed computing power of Spark. And we are a big fan of pure functions, and I'll get to it in a minute. We created some configuration files to store workspace configurations and data contract. And lastly, we use notebooks to kickstart our PySpark application. The notebooks were also utilized for creating delta-like tables by data science and research groups. So our data pipeline is a collection of pure functions, each with a single set of responsibility. Pure functions come from the functional programming paradigm. Ideally, they should not have any side effects. That is, they should not change the system state. Think of operations like reading from the tables and writing to the tables. Next, they are deterministic in nature, meaning given a set of universal input parameters, they always produce the same output. The elegance of pure function enables us to assign single responsibility to each function and can be tested in isolation. And they are particularly helpful in performing unit tests and troubleshooting. But given the isolated nature of pure functions, how do we implement it in the real world? And this is where the dedicated configuration files come into play. These are essentially YAML files that contain information about monitoring labels for each workspace, so we can manage separation of concerns, such as what should be the source schema for each workspace, what should be the target schemas in each workspace, what IAM roles and permissions can be assigned for each workspace, things like that. The configuration then interact with the universal instructions defined in pure function to create dedicated output for each workspace. So if you want to ingest 1,000 tables in US versus 100 tables in Ireland, we can define these kind of configuration files without needing to hard code that in the code base itself. Similarly, for each workspace, we can create dedicated data contracts to define things like primary keys, encryption and decryption rules, or checksum logic. And the trifecta of pure function, job configurations, and data contracts help us with rapid deployment of data platform at scale without needing significant refactor. Now, once we were ready with the initial data pipeline, we allocated some time in our sprint cycle to reflect on our design. We found two opportunities to fine-tune our data platform. First, we introduced parallelization. During ingestion processes, such as soon as the worker nodes complete the ingestion of a table, they can proceed for the next table. And this ensures that we are utilizing all the worker nodes in a cluster to their full capacity. Next, we work with Databricks Solution Architect to find the right cluster type. Databricks has a nice feature that gives an estimation of expected DBUs to be consumed by a cluster. And so in our research, we identified compute-intensive clusters to be the most optimal solution for us. With strong guidance from Databricks technical team, we were able to reduce the cost of running pipelines by 50% and job runtime by almost 67%. And so I highly encourage engineering teams to allocate dedicated times every few sprint cycles and reflect on the architecture to identify opportunities for performance tuning. Once we were ready with ingestion and transformation logic, we worked with data science and research group to create curated data sets for machine learning, for reporting, analytics, and research initiatives. And so we leveraged Databricks' powerful delta-like tables, or DLTs in short. DLTs enabled rapid development of data pipelines, especially in tighter timelines. All you have to do is provide the cluster, source code, and target schema, and you're all set. As we progressed in building our data platform, we ensured to track performance metrics at every stage of our pipelines. We track metrics using Datadog API in our PySpark application. Metrics such as number of rows read, inserted, how many tables are being processed successfully, how many tables are failing at any point of time. And this practice positions us to proactively respond to incident scenarios and communicate effectively across teams and build trust and strong partnerships across the board. And with that, we were ready with dedicated workspaces in US. We had created a dev environment for feature development, a production environment to run our core pipelines that created curated data sets across bronze and silver layer and code layer. And finally, a dedicated environment for data science and research groups using Unity Catalog. Now, using Unity Catalog, we provisioned the data catalogs in the data science environment. And Unity Catalog is is particularly helpful in simplifying access patterns for each user group. Our next big challenge was deploying data platforms for our affiliates at scale. And because we are a small team, manually configuring objects like clusters, policies, instance profile, catalog, schemas can be a painstaking task. It is prone to human errors and runs a high risk of configuration drift. In order to alleviate these issues, we needed an automated, reliable workflow, and infrastructure as a code came to our rescue. So at Crisis TextLine, we are using Terraform to automate provisioning of the necessary infrastructure for the data platforms. Using Terraform, we can create repeatable modules for rapid deployment of clusters, policies, service principals, catalogs, schemas, and permissions in regional workspaces. And using Terraform, we have positioned ourselves to set up a data platform for a new affiliate in 5 to 7 business day cycle, and we are very proud of this achievement. Additionally, we use Git branches that allows us to maintain a centralized code base while allowing for rapid development, testing, and deployment across different workspaces. And this brings us to our current state. We have deployed data platform across regions while ensuring data protection using regional metastore. And now I'll hand over to our product manager, Christy, who will walk us through a case study that we have in store for you, and we hope that you find it interesting.
Thanks, Ankit. It's always super fun to reflect on all the great work that our data engineering, data science, and research teams have embarked on in the past year. So what's next for us? So as you can see, a lot of work went into bringing that centralized data product to market. So that means we can continue to support mental health services globally. This could mean migrating our existing affiliates to our centralized data product. This could also mean launching entirely new countries on our data product. Second, we are very excited to start exploring more product opportunities in the data activation and enhancement space. So how do we surface the right information and the right insights to the right individual at the right time? Now that we've pulled together this consolidated central source of truth, our future looks very bright. So this year, we are exposing a few product workflows that will be geared towards data enrichment and data activation. As you can see here on the screen, there are a lot of opportunities for us to unpack. But in order to better serve our communities, we'll need to also understand our texter journey in interaction with our service. So from that initial call to help, to proper triaging of the conversation, to the conversation that unfolds, and then the offboarding processes. Where can we take data and the insights that we are deriving in our new platform to deliver value, efficiency, and improve workflows on every dimension? As we look to build out more of these advanced data capabilities, it'll be very important for us to remain cognizant of the shifting legal policies that are occurring in the EU, and that will influence how artificial intelligence-enabled products are rolled out to the world on every dimension, including the privacy and the secure space and the nature of our mental health service. A few of the areas that we are looking to hone in on this next year are in the clinical excellence space and in the training and evolution space. So the conversation between a texter and a responder is the key driver and the bread and butter of what Crisis TextLine does well. So it's critical that we continue to improve and fine-tune that experience for both our texter and our responder. We hope to continue building tools that monitor and maximize the efficiency of that conversation, including putting in parameters for looking at the quality of the conversation that unfolds and allowing our clinical decision makers to jump in when they need to. Now, in the space of responder augmentation, we are hoping to continue to evolve our training protocols and programs. We've landed on building a tool for difficult scenario simulations as a high-value business initiative, and we hope that this initiative will build confidence in our volunteers and responders on the ground. The investment in our training functionality will ultimately increase our responder efficiency and their ability to have difficult conversations, both on our platform as well as in their personal lives. Now, what you see here on the left-hand side is a role-play training simulation powered by fine-tuned large language models. This tool was trained on simulated conversation role plays developed in collaboration with our clinical subject matter experts. No real conversation data was actually used in the research or development of these models. The trainee, me in this particular recording, is placed in a high-risk scenario involving a texter having suicidal thoughts due to bullying. Despite going through rigorous training programs at the start of their training, many new responders continue to experience stress and high anxiety from transitioning from the theoretics of training to having that first real conversation. And so we've noticed as a product organization that a tool like the conversation simulator will help in building that confidence in our volunteer community. Last but not least, what we really want to drive home here is that the world needs more human-to-human interaction, not less. So this is the first of a series of tools that we hope will augment our responder population and allow individuals to engage on our platform more meaningfully. We are super excited for what the future holds, and we hope you are too.
Thank you. So a couple of closing thoughts. So we want to thank someone here who couldn't be here and is much more deserving of the stage, our solution architect, Alexei. I hope more people get to connect with him and work with him in future. I also encourage everyone to take a moment every once in a while to think about why you do what you do. How can we leverage powerful technical tools and technologies like Databricks and generative AI to make the world slightly better and create ripple effects? We are incredibly grateful for Databricks for helping us to get to where we are. Drew, Earl, Tomas, Charles, thank you so much. And lastly, if this talk inspires you to become our volunteer or learn more about our work, here are some QR codes for your references. Thank you so much for your time today. We can take a couple of questions.